Hello, everyone. We are back, refreshed after a break, with no sense of stress whatsoever. Alex, were you just cleaning your camera, or were you doing? Were you trying to do a kind of YouTuber transition?
He was trying to point to everyone.
I was trying to. Yes, I was just doing one of those
Okay.
TikTok things, transitions.
Yeah.
It makes my idiot camera reassess its life and refocus when I do that.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, we left it at a relatively tense point in time. So let's hop to a couple of different characters to find out what they may or may not have been doing through that. So when we last saw, I mean, Paolo's probably going to be aboard that shuttle, right? I would imagine that's the case. Will Mafalda be aboard that shuttle? This is like a little while after you had the talk with Paolo. It's up to you whether you're still on the shuttle or what you would have done when the alarms went off. It's up to you.
When the alarms would have gone off, I would have left the shuttle and locked Paolo in it. And
makes sense.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Sure.
Looked for information.
Absolutely. Well, then, I mean, Paolo's limited as to what you could do in that shuttle, although if you wanted to look out of the front cockpit, you would certainly be able to see at least like light from gunfire start to emerge and that kind of thing. Mafalda, you can see from where you are, like the platform, that concrete platform, the nearest to you, the southwest one, you can see it's kind of like just beyond and above the landing platform. And you can see a number of soldiers making their way up a metal ladder to it with a stock of ammunition and guns.
Right. I'm still thinking this is like an internal prison break style situation. So I probably, I probably would go and see if I could find someone to give me some information while acting kind of like vaguely nonchalant.
Like kind of go back to where the barracks are, sort of thing.
Yeah.
No, that makes absolute sense. Yeah. That makes absolute sense. So you can walk off and do that then. In which case, and you will probably find someone to kind of talk to them and get a rough idea of what's happening. But that means, in the meantime, I think we've got some stuff to do with Paolo, maybe. So, Paolo, I'm assuming you are glued to that cockpit. Like thing. A kid and alarms are going off. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, so the first thing I do when the alarm, like I'm initially like trying to stay cool, and then I arrange the clipboard on in the window, and I stack the things in the code that means shit. And then I try and mess around with some of the buttons in the cockpit to try and like switch on screens and stuff to see what else I can see, because obviously the cockpit and it's not actually a fully 360 view, so I want to try and see if
you can do that all you want, but unfortunately the shuttle will not power up while it's landlocked.
click. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit for what feels like an eternity but actually isn't an eternity, and I am going to go to the door and try it, and then obviously realize that Mafalda locked it when she left, and then I'm going to try and jimmy with the mechanisms to see if I can or like in any way see if I can get this hunk of junk to open a door for me.
Sure. Well, why don't you give me I don't know, like a heavy machinery roll?
Yeah, it feels like a heavy machinery roll.
And I'd say this is the thing where I don't know what your pool is, so I don't know whether what I'm asking you to do is just
2 dice.
Okay, well, I was going to give you like a -3 or 4 to it, so I would just say that equals you can't do it.
Okay, so I like look at it and I go, and I just try like hitting it, and then like nothing happens. I'm then gonna sort of look around the rest of the ship, I guess, and see if I can see if there's any like hatches or anything else.
Absolutely.
This hunk of junk has got to have another way out.
Okay, I mean it doesn't, but you can definitely look, and as you're looking, you hear the gunfire starting on the nearby tower platform.
Yeah, so I am actually. I guess I'm vaguely used to hearing some of that in as.
Oh
as
yeah,
all...
yeah. You've heard the defense artillery running and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I go back over to the the cockpit, and I see if I can see anyone shooting. Or
sure, you're like behind the tower, so you can't. You can see the flare of gunfire, but you can't see anyone. You can't actually see the people. No.
And like I expect to hear it stop, but I don't. I assume.
Yeah, and it probably goes on for you tell me at what point you would attempt to try anything else, but it's going to go on for almost 5 minutes.
Okay, I start to look for like anything heavy to maybe smash the windows of this cockpit, because I'm worried.
You're worried about being in your safe place.
Well, I'm in my safe place, but I'm worried about being locked in here away from my sister.
I realistically, again, I'm not entirely sure whether you could smash the windows of a military-grade transport vehicle.
Yeah,
as a child.
Yeah. No, definitely as a scrawny
with no
child.
weapon or anything. Yeah. So I don't think realistically you're going to be able to do anything about it. That doesn't stop you trying.
No. I'll just sort of scrabble around, desperately searching for things and going, no, you're stupid, Paolo. You got to wait for Mafalda. She'll know what's up.
Sure.
So
absolutely.
I go back and I stack the coffee mugs upside down, and I'm like desperately looking out for her and seeing.
Yeah. As you start to do this, you hear you can hear in general the gunfire, because you can hear the other towers as well, just more distant, and you can hear those sort of slowly starting to diminish and presumably the emergency sort of stopping. And as you're kind of stacking the stuff up, you hear the gunfire become kind of more sporadic from the tower near you. And as you watch, you see what looks like a huge chain, swinging, from side to side on the right edge of the tower, just swinging free with nothing on the end of it. And you hear what sounds like a high piercing scream a few seconds after that. And you see a very bright red spray of fluid from the top of the concrete platform for a few seconds. And then all the sound of gunfire on the tower top goes completely dead. And then a few seconds after that, could you roll observation, please?
So that's 7 dice plus my stress, which is 9 dice in total. 5, 9. Yeah. Sorry, the counting incorrect.
Right.
7 plus 2.
And you know what? I think you can add a stress. I think you can add a stress point for seeing all that as well.
Okay. Well, I got 1 success.
Okay.
In total.
You see a dark humanoid form that's essentially running on all fours and dragging behind it what seems to be a still form of what, on at least a brief glance, seems to be an uninjured human. And they kind of slide over the edge of this concrete platform and run past the shuttle to the point where you hear them scrabbling against the side of it briefly and out of your point of view. But the direction they were going was into the interior of the refinery platform. I think, given you've seen an image of the xenomorphs over and over again on the Azul transmissions, you will have recognized that it's one of those creatures that this wildlife they are talking about. But only one of them.
Yeah, only one of them, these wildlife.
And for some reason they were dragging, this individual who seemed to be.
Yeah.
They didn't see, they weren't moving, but they didn't seem to be, you couldn't see, they didn't have arms dropping off them or anything.
Sure. So. Whole person. I think my gut instinct is to hide. To get away from the windows as best I can, because I am terrified that I'll be spotted by one of them.
Absolutely. Okay, we will hop back to the barracks. Huang 12, the klaxons have stopped now. You are being led out of said barracks and back to the yard by a couple of guards. You can't see any sign of Makarov. The yard seems empty as well, and they just kind of lead you to the gate of it and escort you through and shut the gate and say, everyone else is in the sleeping quarters, but they'll be let out again soon.
All right.
And as I say that happens. So the sleeping quarters are opened. Dima, you're being allowed back out into the yard. You can sit if you want to go there. You can stay in here if you want. You can, however, see that a single individual is stood in the yard, which is Huang 12.
How much of the gunfire did I hear? And I don't suppose there were... Being inside, I wouldn't have been able to see the flares.
You could not. No. This is just what's happened at the end of every one of these alerts, as far as you're concerned.
Yeah. I mean, in my head, I'll have been plotting sort of, exponential curves and increased frequency and decreasing number of guards. And I'm kind of wondering how screwed we are. Mm-hmm. But yes, I'm still in the dark. So yeah, I'll head over and... Oh, I'm glad to see they've let you out. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Glad to hear
Is Makarov back?
I haven't seen him.
Right.
As you are all standing there, Yeva, the medic from Chirikov Station, who we haven't seen yet in this, I don't think, walks over towards you. I have a description of her here. She has shoulder-length grey hair tied up and an athletic build starting to go to seed. She walks over and says, "Why did they let you back here?"
They said they were... They required the resources used to keep me there and gave me the option of returning.
Well, the troublemakers are still the troublemakers. I don't... There's more. But why don't both of you come with me?
All right.
Sure.
She leads you inside the sleeping quarters, which are a long series of mostly empty rooms with old machinery frameworks and stuff like that people have just put. Everyone is just on a bedroll, essentially, down around it, and with discarded drinking and eating supplies on either side, like trays and cups and stuff, the limited sort of comfort items that you've managed to acquire. And she leads you kind of down a set of wooden steps to a much more darker chamber where a bunch of people are still sleeping, and round a corner where Cam Huan is standing with a kind of grim look on his face. He's facing off against three somewhat rough-looking individuals who sort of see the group of you arrive, and sort of one of them sort of backs off with his hands in the air and says, "Look, just be careful, all right? I don't make assumptions about who does what around here. It'll be fine. You don't need to worry about it. Put it out of your minds." And he steps away, and the three of them walk off.
You all right?
I'm fine. Someone didn't like me finding something.
Finding what?
He glances over at Yeva, who looks back at him, looks around, and pulls out a little pen torch, essentially, in her hand. She throws it over to Cam. And this would be everything else has been taken away from you. So Yeva has found this or managed to smuggle it through somehow. And Cam just looks carefully around, flicks it on, and points it up at the wall where nestled between two big pieces of kind of shut down equipment and machinery is a space on the wall which has been used to daub graffiti on in some kind of blackish. Maybe someone found some charcoal that was used in the furnaces here or something like that. But all it says is a single word, and that word is Moloch.
That's not good news. Any idea who it might be?
None. But it's growing increasingly obvious that we need to police ourselves here.
Yeah, we should stick together.
All hours of the day. Find Collier if we can as well. He went through the same things we did. Okay. Up on the surface of the platform, we have Mafalda trying to find out details down by the barracks. At the same time, Makarov, your group, is pulling back from the tower and is being led down to roughly the same area. The Marshal is standing there, and she's kind of barking orders at everyone. And she turns to Helena and says, just go look. Go in heavily armed. It'll be fine. Maybe they ran out of flares, or Helena leans in and says, then why aren't they back here? All right, I'll come with you. Bring Bering Boy here, and we'll take... Look, we have to leave some people to guard. They're back out in the yard now. We'll take as many guns as we can. Lopez, you've got a pistol, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you're coming as well. We're going to go take a look at the tower. We're going to see what the situation is. They haven't come flooding up, or we'd know about it by now.
Sorry, is this the refugees?
There's a kind of general silence. No, it's not the refugees. It's
okay.
Just come with us. Keep that pistol ready. You see anything moving and you don't know what it is, you fire, all right?
Yeah.
The entire group of you, which is probably around maybe 12 individuals in total, start walking along the walkways and the gangways round the yard, round past the sleeping quarters and the other large old kind of like factory buildings. And you have to basically go on a circuit around the thing. You can't cut across. You reach the landing platform, and above you can see the concrete pillar, and in the growing kind of darkness, you can see one trickle of dark fluid that's run down and dried alongside kind of the ladder down. The Marshal says, all right, Makarov, why don't you go up first? You're the most experienced with them.
I mean, a strategically inclined person might say that the person with the most experience should not be the one to face check the ladder, but sure. And he hefts the pulse rifle in one hand and sort of tries to scoot his way up the ladder. But I think I want to stop halfway up and just stop dead and listen.
Suddenly. Like listen, sure, yeah. Why do you give me an observation roll?
Okay. That would be...
There is someone immediately, like they are coming up in sequence behind you. So.
Sure, but that isn't going to do me a lot of good.
No.
If I get to the top of this ladder and there's something there. 1 success out of 4. So it's not bad.
Yeah, you can't hear... You're fairly confident that you can't hear anything up there.
Great. Well, evidence of absence and all that. So I keep climbing.
Sure. You
I'm gonna peek the top.
Absolutely. You peek over the top, and it's safe to say you can immediately take 1 stress. Because what you see at the top is essentially it's like a slaughterhouse up there. There are bits and pieces of human bodies scattered everywhere. There is a lot of blood slick, kind of still not all soaked into the ground of the ground of the concrete of the platform. There are do pulse rifles eject shells in any way?
They're caseless, so I don't believe
Caseless,
so,
no. Well, there's empty magazines on the ground as well, where they've just been dropped out. There are dead people here. There's also what seemed to be the shredded remains of a xenomorph on the edge of the concrete, and the acid has sloughed through the side of it, and just like a great section of the concrete platform has just sloughed off and tumbled down to the ground below.
Wonderful. Also, in the interest of fairness, I forgot to roll my stress die into that observation check, and I got myself a nice juicy fail.
Ooh,
so I need to roll.
Well, then, why don't we incorporate that into what you see on top of the platform? So why don't you roll a d6 and add your stress level to it, please?
Great. Which is now 3. So it's a 5 plus 3, so that's an 8, which is a tremble. Oh god, that's not good on a ladder.
Yeah. No, you are kind of visibly trembling, and all it means is all skill rolls using agility suffer a -2 modification, so your panic stops.
Right.
Okay. Are you climbing now to the top of the platform? There definitely doesn't seem to be anything alive up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's either that or awkwardly try to persuade the people under me to then start climbing down again. So I just get up at least where I can stand.
Sure,
properly.
Absolutely. And someone has made a good point in our private chat. We didn't talk about story points, but we will. Why don't we go for the 2 people who are here? So Boya, I'm assuming your agenda is still protect Huang 12.
Correct.
Okay. Now, this is an interesting one. Huang 12 wasn't damaged in the first act, but I don't think you were in a position to protect her either. So where does that fall? Well, or were you protecting her by gunning down the xenomorphs on the leg, actually? You know what? Take a story point.
Okay.
Justin, what was Mafalda's agenda in that first act?
My agenda initially was to kind of get off my assignment as quickly as possible, but I think, is it fair to say that it was probably
switched
more
because of Paolo
to keep Paolo from being detected, which did happen.
You'd succeeded with that. Take a story point. On top of this platform,
Paolo from keeping safe. That's my current one.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mafalda, you climb to the top along with everyone else. You can take a stress point for seeing the kind of horrible scene laid out here. Everyone is now on top. The marshal is kind of looking around. She has her revolver out. Well, this isn't a positive development.
I think Boya is at this point going to count the bodies and then ask, how many people did you have here?
There were 6 up here, like there were with the other tower. It's difficult to it is difficult to count them because a lot of people are in pieces.
What belongs to who, right? Okay.
But everyone is now kind of focusing on this and looking around, or everyone who's been on the towers. Mafalda, you probably don't realize what they're talking about in any significant way. Yeah. Eventually, Helena is the first one who speaks and says, 5.
5. One could have fallen, but
the marshal nods and says, we can't take the chance. I don't think anyone was close enough to see whether any of them made it over. But if none of them made it over and there was one body unable to move, the body would still be here with the larval form on it. So there's at least one here, and they've taken a body with them. Does anyone else have any different conclusions?
Safest assumption.
Mafalda, you're probably complete
Yeah,
all you know about the xenomorphs is that what they look like and that they're dangerous.
Yeah, I think I'm going with the shut up and find out later kind of approach.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. All right.
We need to search thoroughly, area by area.
Search, and I need my guards.
Why do I feel like I'm about to volunteer for something?
Well, I have good news for you, Makarov. You won't be alone.
Okay.
Let's get Helena. She leans in and kind of talks quite closely to her. Helena kind of looks at her to double check those are the orders and then starts to head off. There's nothing else that can be done up here. Look. Lopez, Makarov, clear these bodies off the edge. I know it's not the right thing to do, but we can't have panic and we don't have time. Recover all the magazines and weapons. Bring them down to the landing platform when you're done. Questions?
I think Makarov shrugs and starts putting the boot in.
Sure.
It's just he's like a bit desensitized to the drill at this point, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Though I think he will turn and say, I need to know where Wang 12 is.
Wang 12 is currently in the yard, but don't you worry. She's coming to you.
Okay, that's some kind of progress.
Everyone but you and Lopez is kind of climbing down the ladder.
What the hell is happening? Lopez is going to start, picking up stuff and come to terms with moving corpses. But,
yes, I think, desensitized or not, I think you can both take another stress from having to do this. I think moving dismembered human bodies and throwing them off the edge is going to be...
I'd kind of given myself a stress point already, so with that maybe 2.
Was the stress point for just seeing the scene?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and this is another. This is the second one from this.
You're now getting acquainted intimately with the scene.
Yeah.
Mafalda, when you said that, did you say it in Portuguese?
What if Boya has been talking in English?
The marshal was talking to him talking in general in English. Yeah.
Yeah. Then and he's not wearing
No, he's wearing the fatigues from the.
Then I'll assume that the conversation
fatigues
is to continue in English.
Sure, absolutely. Then go ahead. I'm sure you have a conversation to have.
Yeah. What is going on? And why are you? I want to know as much as I can know.
Do you know anything? Do you know what did this? Do you?
I mean, I guess I don't know anything.
Okay. Well, give or take, I don't even know anymore. 8-9 months ago. I was here taking care of a corporate android, seeks an android, and we started running into some highly irregular local fauna. Let's put it that way, and they're like nothing I've seen. I don't even know how to fill you in on this, but basically, they're big, they're fast, they're strong, and I think Boya's going to go into a brief explanation, which I won't laboriously lay out here, but about the importance of the importance of the, I think specifically the importance of the body count, so he understands, so she understands the relevance of the parasitic nature of what we're dealing with and why we now need to search. You're muted, Matt, by the way.
Through this whole thing, I'm going to be continuously kind of looking over at my ship,
right,
and
sure,
the clipboard in the window, and Yeah.
I mean, Makarov has no reason to withhold anything from. At this point, it's like we're in this together in this shit show situation.
Mm-hmm.
So Makarov's not going to play it cagey or anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mafalda, you can consider yourself somewhat filled in on how xenomorphs work and what they are.
And one more thing, if you're going to use that little pea shooter you got there, maybe aim for the mouth.
Can I pick up one of the pulse rifles? And load up?
Unfortunately, all the she said to gather those as well. Yeah, you can absolutely have one of the pulse rifles.
Okay, then I'd like to hold on to that pulse rifle if no one's going to take it from me. Then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Makarov is not going to mess with you. If you wanna have one, you can have one. He might shoot you an inquisitive look to be like, do you know have you fired one of those?
You carry out this very unpleasant task of removing all the human remains and just basically throwing them off the edge of the platform. You gather all the weapons and magazines, and you can hear people gathering on the landing platform below as you finish off this task. If either of you glance over the edge, you can see the marshal there with a few guards, and you could also see Huang 12, Dima Lebedev, Cam Juan, Leva Tarasova, and I'm going to say you haven't. Collier isn't with you, but you can see all these individuals just kind of stood there, presumably kind of uncertain about what they're doing. Basically, for John and Steve's purposes, they came into the yard and just, in no uncertain terms, told you were being taken. You weren't in trouble. You were being taken out and to talk to Makarov and the marshal. And you've been led to the landing platform. Makarov and Lopez, I'm assuming you're descending once you're done.
Yes, the now slightly slick ladder.
Okay. Paolo, you can hear this entire conversation from inside the shuttle.
The
marshal... No, go ahead.
Yeah. No. I was just gonna, I'm sort of crouched down, kind of staring at my feet, worried about, oh god. I think I'm actually in too bad of a state to do very much. I maybe try and peek over occasionally to see if I can get a glimpse of Mafalda or anything else and make eye contact, but apart from that, I'm not doing anything else.
Well, the marshal is waiting for everyone to gather and is then going to turn around and say, all right, I don't want any arguments about this. She glances at her guards. It's just what has to happen. Realistically, we were already understaffed, and now we just lost 6 guards. This group were at Chirikov Station, the first encounter with these creatures. That is a pile of pulse rifles and magazines taken from the dead. Those of you who aren't armed, get armed. She's looking at, Huang, Dima, Leva, Cam.
I pick up a rifle.
Likewise.
What the hell is that noise?
It's the cat.
She's snoring.
It does sound odd.
Is it the cat snoring?
He's not snoring, but he's sort of curled up, bent double on himself to get his cheek in my hand. I'm sorry, it's very grammatically inappropriate.
Isn't it the pumping sound
machinery
of the fueling station?
It's the pumping sound of the fueling station. The reason we asked is because it literally sounded like someone was having some horrible congress. Kind of just off camera.
Congress of Sorrows, maybe.
Someone was pumping in the station. You might see.
Goodness me.
So, regardless, you can all. I mean, Cam definitely takes no time in reaching down and picking up a gun, as does Leva. You are the ones who seem to have had the most luck surviving against these things. So why don't you take those guns, go look around this station for at least one of them, find them, find the poor unfortunate who's been... I don't even want to think about what the term is, and eliminate both of them. Or all of them. As quietly and safely as you can do it. Because unfortunately, I can't spare the guards. We have a brewing discontent here, and it's not going to help anyone if violence erupts. We need to have calm, and we need to have discipline, or as you've seen, things can go very wrong when one of those swarms moves around underneath.
Are you aware of the cult of Moloch?
The what?
The cult of Moloch. Do you know why and how Bering fell? Saboteurs and the graffiti. We've seen graffiti downstairs. I think we have a greater threat. I think...
Oh, that. All the more reason to get this done as soon as possible. Look, you can talk to me about this cult and about these saboteurs when we have this situation under control, and I promise you, I will listen to you and take your recommendations. Anyone who we see as trouble out there can be pulled out and put in one of those isolation huts. And if they give us even more trouble, well, there are other solutions for that as well, aren't there?
You need to be keeping a close eye because, yeah.
A close eye will be kept. We don't know where this creature has gone. I'm sure it's moving down somewhere in the facility. And while you're down there as well, I have an extra task for you, Lopez. There's a disabled dropship in a rudimentary hangar bay about halfway down on the north face. Why don't you go there and see what the possibilities are of getting it fixed up? It can carry more people, and it can also go orbital. And right now, I just want to consider all the possibilities.
Right. Okay.
What's your revised head count?
Of guns?
People. All, everyone.
About 250. Too many for a dropship and a shuttle.
Quite a few
But
too
all
many
the more
for a
reason.
dropship, innit?
All the more reason why we need to get that other ship running. Just in case. Look, if you go up to that tower, as you've already seen, there are other refinery platforms in the distance doing exactly the same thing we are. We have potential backup. Azul is half an hour away. But I want to be prepared for all possibilities, as I'm sure you can understand. But let's deal with the situation we have right now. You've been deputized, if you want to consider it that. Go find me that creature, kill it, kill the poor bastard who's been impregnated, and then we figure out the next step. And for God's sake, if you hear the klaxons, come back up.
All right. Look, we'll help. I'll help. But you should consider making the situation abundantly clear to Azul, because half an hour is a long time when the shit's hitting the fan.
They'll know.
Do you have open communication with the other facilities?
No. But I can radio back to Azul and ask them for more personnel. I wouldn't hold out hopes. They've got plenty to deal with on their own, keeping the main front of the swarm away from Azul and keeping people out of the know.
All right, well, time's burning. Let's go find this fucking thing.
Yeah, I just need to. There's something on the ship I need to grab. It should be a second or two.
The marshal kind of indicates go ahead and walks off with the other guards.
Sure. My plan is to go onto the ship and give Paolo a gun. That's my plan.
Sure.
Because I have a spare pistol and I want to explain. I want to check on him, make sure he's okay.
I love that your entire arc is like, hey, small child, fly this ship. Here's a gun.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Yeah, I'm going to go onto the ship, and basically, my explanation is like, I don't know what you saw, but this is really serious. You need to stay hidden.
I saw one of the creatures.
How many of them were there? What the hell did you see?
I saw it drag him. It dragged a man who was alive.
Oh God!
It's just.
I'm so sorry.
I think I might have seen where he went. I don't know if I actually did see where he went, but
he kind of went past the ship. But other
Sure.
than that,
yeah, he went that way.
Shit.
Right.
Behind you, a woman's voice you haven't heard before says, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I'm gonna straighten up and turn around,
Sure. It is one of the individuals from this group who you're not familiar with. For everyone's benefit, it's Laver, coming on here to see what was taking you so long.
Reasonable.
We need a way to feed Pierre.
I think so.
He's not just stuck on the shuttle for the entire thing. She's kind of looking around and saying, "You have a kid here?"
Hey, I'm not a kid.
Look, he stowed on board. No one needs to know. No, he's safer here anyway. He's just going to stay on the ship.
No, I'm not. Not if you're going to go down and fly away.
Look, I don't know who you are, but look, no one can know that he stowed aboard. I'm in enough trouble as I am. It's best if he can.
You're going to
just
keep quiet
his head
about
down.
this, and I sort of vaguely aim the pistol in her direction.
I shouldn't have given a gun. I realised that was a bad idea. But he's my brother.
You do know the safety's on, kid.
And I look down at the gun, and I'm like, I have no idea how to use a gun.
Yeva kind of takes a couple of steps towards Mafalda and leans in and says,
back.
"I get that you think he's safer here, but I've seen these things tear through the door of a blast furnace.
Shit.
This hull is going to be like paper to them. If they want in, they'll get in."
And if we're going to get off on that dropship, the safest place for him is on it.
It is. Or failing that, with a bunch of people who can protect themselves with weapons. I assure you, if they know he's on here, this shuttle is going to be no protection.
You guys know what you're talking about. I'm going to grab like a cap and just shove it on Paolo's head and said, "Keep your head down. Don't let anyone notice anything, Paolo. You're 16 and you're old enough to be here. Act like it." That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's the you're a young recruit.
The line.
Yep. Okay.
And
I'm sure I'll be okay. Thanks for your help. How do you switch off the safety? And I
we'll
show
get
the
all
gun.
that covered when we're inside.
Sure.
Okay. The three of you emerge from the shuttle, I guess, to probably varied reactions.
I introduce Paolo as a recruit pilot.
There's a kind of general silence, and then Cam says, "That's a kid."
I just hold my head in my hands, like going red. Like, can we just get inside?
I sort of half hide behind Math.
Well, now I've seen everything.
So, as far as where you want to set, let me give you the rough description of the platform as a whole, right? There's obviously this surface. There's a big building on the surface, which is the sleeping facilities. There's the barracks and stuff like that. But there are probably like 4 or 5 floors just below this as part of the refinery. An absolute labyrinthine warren of old machinery, old processing plants, no manufacturing, but like factory floors, habitation, stuff like that. Like, it is that you saw the rudimentary schematics, Mafalda. There's a lot to this place. There are multiple places outside of the penned-in area where you can gain access to going down, like probably some nearby, just like a doorway, you know, a port or a doorway where you can just go in. So, yeah. What's the plan, folks?
Did you see what direction it went in, Paolo?
I think it roughly over there.
Can we sort of look around? Is there sign of a trail, a blood trail, or anything on the deck here by the?
Give me an observation roll.
Okay, that'll be 8 dice. Am I stressed at the moment?
You don't have any extra stress now beyond what, unless you picked up some this.
I don't think I have so far, which seems incredible.
But if you want, you can take a stress from seeing the Moloch graffiti.
Yeah,
I think that's legit.
So 5, 6, and 8 with 1 stress die.
I'd say John can as well, but John does not take stress.
2 successes. 2 successes.
Okay. You don't find any blood, but you do find down a little set of stairs nearby, there is like the doors in this place are like kind of submarine doors, or large modern ship doors, and they're like all metal, swinging open. You find what you would think may well be claw marks on the side of the portal, as if something has taken a grip and pulled itself through. That would be your best guess.
I'll over here there's looks like something's gone this way.
Wow, they're big.
Yeah, they are. I guess we sort of head towards where Dima is. Let's stay together.
Do the pulse rifles have torches on, or can we get illumination?
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Because it is. You are absolutely right. It is dark down there.
I'll, I guess, look to Cam and Boria and sort of, what do we do here? What's the? Do you have any ideas?
I mean, I guess Cam and me up front, and just keep your eye on the ceiling, all right, and behind, and just generally every goddamn corner that there is. Okay, I want flashlights spread around the place.
Cam nods and says, "Kid in the middle."
Yeah, agreed.
I think Yeva and Huang should take the back. Yeva knows how to handle a gun, and it's not like Huang will panic.
Are we roughly heading in the direction of, like, is this a route that will facilitate me getting towards the dropship in that direction, or?
Yeah, I think you could take whatever direction you want when you're down below. Like I say, it's just like a complex. Right. You can move around it. It's essentially a very, very big industrial building. Once you're actually below. So it's just any number of ways is the way you could go. Once you are down there and you are already kind of stepping down, like I say, into this darkened corridor, you're in like a long metal corridor with rooms off either side. Only a few steps are needed before you encounter on the wall a layout. like a full plan of the facility. You know, like it's complex, but you could definitely Mafalda kind of take a look at it if you want to kind of like try and work out where your best route might be.
Yeah. And we don't have any comm system with the rest of the teams. We just have to rely on internal comm system, like facility comm systems, not like a walkie-talkie or anything like that.
You don't have a walkie-talkie in the internal. Most of the power down here is off. It's only like the backup power that's fueling a lot of the stuff that happens up at the top. So down here, there's no kind of like internal, like there are internal comm things, but they're not functioning. I'm assuming you're taking a look at that layout.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you give me? Oh, what's an interesting role this could be? I'm actually going to say it's Comtech because it's like a basic, like the layout is to a certain degree. I just said there wasn't any power, so it's actually probably not Comtech. I'm steering away from just trying to roll observation over and over again, but I think it's
survival
observation roll
because it's like,
well, you know, your choice. Yeah, your choice of observation or survival. It's up to you. Whichever you got more.
Read a map, I guess.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. But yeah, just if you give that roll, don't forget your stress dice. And while Justin's making that roll, actually, let's talk about story points for the 3 people we haven't already. Paolo, what was your agenda in Act 1?
So my agenda in Act 1 was to successfully hide your presence from everyone, which I sort of immediately failed by willing to hide from Mafalda.
Sure.
But I did sort of hide from everyone else after that. But
sure, yeah, but Mafalda immediately found you, so that's
you get 0.9 story points rounded down to 0.
Yeah.
And guess what my objective for this round is?
Hide from everyone.
I'm going to get many story points.
Yeah.
So I rolled 2 successes, but I also panicked, but then I kept it cool.
Okay, great. Dima, what was your agenda for Act 1?
That was a tough one because I didn't really have much option to, achieve anything other than not get killed. So I'm fine with not having a story point for the first act.
Sure. What was it though, out of interest?
I mean, I started off with learn how screwed we all were. That was kind of my
yeah. Sure. What is it now? Interest.
At the start, my aim was to let someone in authority know about Moloch and specifically about how Bering collapsed because of sabotage.
Yeah. So that sounds like you might be coming up with a story point at the end of this act then.
If I remain alive.
Yes, true. Huang 12.
Mine was to report to Seeks and HQ, which I obviously didn't do. And I'm going to keep it as that, actually.
Sure. That seems fine. So, Mafalda, you have definitely found, you experienced a brief moment of sort of anxiety when you saw how long and complicated the route to this shutdown hangar is, but you've managed to memorize it, and you think you can lead a way through these darkened corridors and gangways and rooms to where you need to go.
Yeah, I had a look at the schematics before I landed, and this all makes sense to me. I think I know which way we could be going to get to the ship. I don't know if it will lead us towards wherever that thing is, but that's the way I've got to go.
Sure. I'm sticking with you.
Is there any way to reinstate power down here?
Looking at the map, is there a room that I could switch on some power on?
I mean, there's a generator room. You don't know what state the generator's in or anything like that, but none of you are engineers. I mean, Dima's probably the closest person who could take a look at these things. But maybe
we could. Is it anywhere in the direction we're going?
I will roll randomly to see that. No, it is literally the opposite direction.
Right. No, all right. Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I could point the map and go, I'm not going that way.
I mean, if there are any equipment rooms on the way, Dima might be interested in sort of trying to scavenge, seeing if there's any tech that would be useful, having a quick rummage around, but only if it's on the way.
Yeah, sure. So you're now navigating your way through these. I won't describe each area individually because it's all sort of much of an incredibly tense muchness as you are making your way through. Kind of, there's a lot of silence down here, and every footfall seems to kind of echo around the corridors as you're making your way forwards. Every time you move, your torches ahead of you move, you feel like you see kind of movement at the corner of your eye, or odd shapes that just turn out to be piles of old equipment. Could I have, please, a mobility roll from everyone? And you can go ahead and just obviously use your stress. Let me know if your stress rolls trigger, but otherwise just give me a number of fingers for successes, please.
Stress has not declined at all, has it?
It only declines if you have 10 or 15 minutes in a calm, safe environment, which I don't think you've had.
Oh, sure.
Does panicking make your stress go up? Don't double check that.
No, not unless the result tells you that it goes up.
Okay.
3 successes, but a panic.
Okay.
It's mobility, right? Straight mobility roll.
And I'm going to roll my panic if that's okay.
Yeah, please do go ahead and roll your panic.
1 success, panic, but kept it cool.
Kept it together.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, I got 1 success, but a panic. So, and the panic roll is going to be 5 plus 4 is 9.
Ooh.
Which is a spicy one, if I remember rightly.
It's on the spicier end.
I'm trying to find
drop item.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
and your stress level increases by 1. We'll deal with that in a second.
Okay.
I was going to say, what did John get? Of course, John does. Oh, well, what did you get on your mobility rolls, Rob?
0.
0. Okay. No one else failed, did they? I don't think. So yeah. So basically, you creep through these areas one by one. You've lost kind of track of time of how long you've been down here. Maybe half an hour or so. You are moving over a kind of gantry held above what seems to be part of like the furnace, the processing area where the gas has been drawn out from the smog below, from the deep below the ground underneath, and processed and stored and then sent off presumably to Azul. And as you do so, Huang, you are walking along and you do not. You basically don't see a pile of disused equipment on the gantryway. You hit it in the darkness. Your photoreceptors clearly need, new drivers installing or something. And you stumble, and there's a kind of crash of equipment down. Makarov, could you make me a further? Because I don't know how cruel to be at this point, right? So could you make me a further mobility roll, please? And I'm going to put a -3 on it, I think.
Fuck a duck. Okay. That's gnarly.
But you're stressed.
My stress level has gone up by 1 already.
It's
right?
gone up by 1, but that's like no, it does apply because it's your panic has already happened, so it's gone. Happened. I'm going to say it's gone. It's gone up.
Is it possible for me to use a stunt to assist?
Well,
maybe
because one of the options for stunts on mobility is give 1 success to another PC in the same situation as you. I don't know if
it's not the same situation, but I will allow you to use it to give Alex another die. So it's just a -2.
-2, right? So, and it's mobility. So, oh Jesus, right?
You got your stress as well. So.
Yeah, I've got a lot of it. Right, so that's 2 ability die, which is
guide you how to.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no dice on that one. So now 5 stress dice, which again is nothing happened. So I guess at this point I feel like I need to maybe spend a story point to try to get a single success out of this, because I've just rolled nothing but.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, how many story points have you got now?
I was up to 3, so I was like, well,
you can't go beyond 3.
So I might as well just get 1 success here just to scrape by.
Sure, absolutely. Right. And I'm going to judge that as essentially what happens is you kind of Huang is right behind you. Or no, we said Huang was at the back, but you hear this and kind of wheel round. As you do so, one of the struts holding up the gantry, you knock your pulse rifle against it, and you lose your grip. It goes sort of tumbling and is about literally to like fall off the gantryway and just be lost in the furnaces below, when the kid sort of like grabs it and is holding it like by the stock over this void below.
Good job, kid. We'll make a Marine out of you yet.
I sort of, you see me sort of puff up and like in my oversized clothes and my oversized hat.
Don't encourage him.
I hand you the pulse rifle.
Okay, Makarov like sheepishly accepts this pulse rifle, this incredibly precious piece of equipment from this literal child.
Yeva kind of turns to you, Huang, with her eyes like really wide, and says, "Do you need the other leg replacing too?"
Not yet. But thank you for your concern.
Just be careful, right?
I can only be as careful as I can be.
Okay. Sorry. Let's go.
And so is like the clang of that accident sort of reverberating now, and then
it's you've definitely pulled a Pippin here, like
fool of a toque.
Yeah, there is like the clang is resounding and then kind of dies out, and everyone's just kind of holding their breath, but nothing happens.
No cave troll.
Come on.
Cave troll. Okay.
Let's keep moving.
Cam nods and starts making his way forwards. You'd say you're about maybe that was about a third of the way towards this disused hangar on the north side. You make your way forwards again, carry on going through gantryways and corridors. About another third of the way, I would this time like an observation roll from everyone, please.
Just before this, while we're doing that sort of trundling bit, I'm gonna take that little downtime when it becomes clear nothing's going to horribly murder us to use my signature item, which is so in Makarov's case, it's his brother's dog tags that he always keeps around his neck. I assume he'd have been allowed to keep his personal personal affects. So he just kind of like does this idle habit he has where he sort of plays them through his fingers, and it sort of helps calm him down a bit. And I've shared a stress point.
Okay.
Because, oh Lord.
Yeah. Your stress be getting high. So that's a 3 and a 1. Anyone else with their observations?
I got a 3 success and a panic, and the panic resulted in drop item.
Okay.
I got
how about the others?
Sorry. 1 success, a panic, and a nervous twitch. A nervous twitch, of course, being something that then causes everyone in the party to gain a level of stress.
Oh, great!
Well, everyone in short range of me.
Short range, yeah,
and myself.
So you're at the other end of the party,
would be me,
right?
Yeah. So let's go through this.
All friendly PCs.
Also, I just to frame this whole fucking thing with a like bow on top. I got no successes and 2 panics. So do I roll?
It's still only it's only 1. It's only 1.
I was like, how fucked are we? Okay.
Yeah. Let's get all these panics together before we determine the end result.
Right. So that's going to be a 3 + 4, so 7, which is a nervous twitch.
We're all twitching up.
Wait,
all twitching up.
We're just all twitching out.
Just a random clarification: does the twitch affect the stress result? Basically, I go from a 9 to a 10 if Justin's
no, because they're all happening at the same time. Let's not worry about anything like that. So I'm going to judge this as so that was a dropped item, that was a twitch. I'm going to say, because it's dark and you can barely see the next people across, I'm going to say Boya, your twitch only affects you and Cam, who doesn't really have a twitch. I'm not storing stress for things. Mafalda, however, I'd say you're next to Paolo. So both Mafalda and Paolo's stress goes up by 1. And like as Mafalda twitches, Paolo drops. You know what? Like, what items have you got? You've got your little gaming device.
I've got a laser pointer. I've got a gaming device, and I've got $6 and a bracelet, which is my signature item.
And a gun. I'm only going to count the gaming device, the laser pointer, and the gun here.
I just love that he's got like his paper round money, his Switch, and a handgun.
Yeah. Your laser pointer, like that you were kind of nervously fiddling with in your other hand from the gun, jumps from kind of like your nerveless hands and scatters somewhere along the floor in the dark. You ain't getting that back unless you like take some serious time looking for it, which you could try and persuade the others to do. But anyway, the reason why all this happens, as anyone who didn't roll 0 will detect, I think Huang 12 got 3, and then you got 3. Yeah. 1. Who got 0? Was that Boya? Yeah, Boya. You don't hear this, but echoing in the near distance through these labyrinthine corridors is a very human, screeching, unpleasant cry of pain, which is very suddenly cut off. Huang, you think you heard Huang and Paolo? You definitely heard it well enough that you think you can go there, or at least the direction.
I think it was over there.
I agree. I had it.
Let's stay away.
We have to go forward.
Boya's just like looking around, like what? What did you hear?
Screaming. Shortly interrupted.
Who was that man?
Person screaming, or others? Okay.
If the screaming stopped suddenly, that might mean we're already too late. Either way, we are cutting it close.
Agreed. Press on.
So people in the original party have witnessed chestbursters, haven't they? We've seen.
Yeah.
So we can.
We can intuit. I think make the leap.
So when you say press forwards, to the hangar or to the noise?
I was directing towards the noise, but if
yeah, I was agreeing because it's like, well, we got to contain this shit, right? We can check out the hangar after.
I will grab Math's
sleeve. We can't go there.
Let's go to the ship.
If they spread, we're all dead.
You can deal with it.
We could split up. We could go to the hangar and someone else could check it out.
Don't make me go.
And if we miss it and it ends up at the hangar and it's you and Mini Marine here with your handguns, how's that going to go?
We can deal with it.
I love your confidence, kid, but you can't deal with it.
Staying with the maximum amount of guns is the safest option. I can't force you to stay with us, but neither can I allow you to leave without saying this.
Okay.
None of you would go if we went to the hangar.
Then everybody dies. And if you can't fix the ship, that absolutely includes us.
Yeah. Okay. Look, Paolo, we've got to stick together. And these guys, they need to check out what's happened here. So we need to go to. But we're not going to go look inside. We're going to stand. We're not going to go and...
Okay.
Let's just go.
Okay.
the noise came from what looked like that used to be kind of like barracks or habitation here, deep underneath the surface of the platform. And as you start to walk through these empty spaces, you see kind of like old bunks to either side of you, some still with kind of like photos pinned up on them, or rudimentary possessions that weren't important enough to bring with them, or perhaps for some reason this platform was kind of people left in a hurry. You don't know. It seems to have been quite a long time ago, but kind of like sort of your torches flash across some of these photos as kind of faces from probably 50 years or more stare back at you. And kind of the vague smell of maybe like decaying, maybe there were mice or rats here who died, or like, or whatever maybe the Gehenna equivalent of those things is, or rotten food, stuff like that. Either way, it's unpleasant. As you sort of step forward cautiously, and the group kind of rounds a corner into what seems to have been an old mess hall. There is a table at the center of it, a very large octagonal table raised up off the ground, and sprawled over it, dead, is the form of what looks to be a Bering refugee. They have had their throat torn open and an arm partly torn off, and something seems to have chewed great chunks from their shoulder and their torso.
I'm going to push Paolo behind me so he doesn't have to see any of this shit.
Yeah, presumably this is a stress point. If
yes, this is a stress point. Yeah.
What are you doing, Steve?
Well, no, I'd say it's a stress. I'd say it's actually a stress point for anyone who has not seen horrible gore yet. This story.
Yeah.
So
I Dima
and Paolo, I'd say, get a stress point from it.
Okay, and I didn't successfully get it hidden from me by math. All right.
It depends. You will have if you've been completely left out of the room and are behind on your own, but otherwise there is no way to shield. Like, there's blood and it's
disparate.
When is this guy dressed the same as the guy who was dragged?
Nope, absolutely not. That person was a guard.
Was a guard. It's not him.
Wait, it's not who?
It's not the man who was dragged.
You saw him?
Yeah, he was a guard. He was...
Okay.
Yeva says it's found a route up to the refugees already.
Yeah, it's gonna get really busy and really bad, really fast. We need to contain this shit.
We still need to find the first victim.
Yep.
Does anything need to happen to this guy?
Is there any sign of
contamination?
Yes.
No.
But would there be any sign?
Well, yeah, you'd be able to see if it. I mean, if he's dead, it hasn't impregnated. He hasn't been.
Yeah. If there's no burst chest, then
no,
because we've seen the effect.
You've definitely seen what happens. Yeah.
No, I think we're safe to leave this.
Good.
Okay.
Can I
go
examine for, I suppose, a blood trail?
Yeah, you definitely.
Any indication of where it went?
Yeah, well, give me an observation roll.
Okay.
How many pieces is this guy in? It's like it went that way, it went that way, it went that way.
Yeah.
I'll certainly be looking around for.
I rolled 11 dice and no successes.
Wow.
Jesus. I mean,
that's
you
years.
You can't push, right?
Nope.
You can use a story point after a failed roll to add a success.
I can, and I've got plenty of them, so I'm going to do that.
Is that androids can't push? Was that?
Yes.
Yeah. But they don't get stress either, so which is obviously a two-way it's both an advantage and a disadvantage.
And we start with extra attributes as well.
Yeah, you look around and for a moment you don't find anything, and then you remember to look under the table, and you find a chewed off part of the man's shoulder that has a blood trail leading out of it off into an adjacent corridor.
It went in that direction.
Do we follow this trail and hope it takes us to the other victim?
Can we just get out of this room, please?
Who checked the map? Can we figure out where this goes?
Geez.
The adjacent corridor is actually leading in the rough direction you want. It's not. You don't think it's the optimal way, but it's at least not away from it.
Yeah, we can go that way.
Okay, let's get moving.
Yeah.
Time's not on our side here.
I follow.
Yeah.
Okay. So are we moving the same way, or is Huang kind of going to try and lead on the trail, or if you've seen it, or what? How, are we just moving exactly as we were before?
I think I'd probably be sort of asking Huang to direct me from a little behind me kind of thing.
Yeah,
Sure.
I will do that.
I think I sort of some subconsciously start drifting towards the back of the group.
Sure, absolutely, that makes sense. Okay, so you kind of gather yourselves and step forward to where the kind of the blood trail leads out into that corridor. You step towards the corridor and see, all of you who are at the front on the ground see that the blood trail sort of comes to an abrupt stop just outside that doorway in a large puddle of blood on the ground. And as you watch, a drip goes. And I'd like you all to roll observation, please. I would also, John, after you've rolled observation, can you randomize initiative for everyone in the group, and also add I think they get 2 initiative slots. I think I'm right in saying.
Oh dear.
Okay, I rolled 5 successes.
3
That's
successes.
okay. Can everyone just put in private chat what they got as part of their observation roll, and then John, if you randomize just everyone, and the actually, can you give the xenomorph 3 slots, please, and randomize those as well, and just go ahead and put NPCs at the end.
This doesn't sound great.
It'll take me a minute or so to do, but
that's absolutely fine. What I'm going to say for your observation rolls, because this isn't part of the rules, it's just something I want to do at this point. The amount of successes you got is the amount of movement within the initiative order you can take in this first round. So, for example, Justin got 2 successes there. Justin, you can move up or down by 2 degrees. And I realize that if you all choose to do it, it could lead to a lot of shuffling around, but we'll do it one at a time.
Now I'm like, do I spend a story point? Because I've only got... Okay.
Depends where you end up.
Yeah. Which is all randomly determined.
So I take it we're seeing a xenomorph?
It's absolutely time that I could describe what happens. As you step through, you all register, as I say, this puddle of blood on the floor and the dripping into it from above. And I'm sure those of you with a bit more experience will start to move the muzzles of their guns upwards. The xenomorph, which is an odd brownish blackish color that I believe we actually encountered briefly in Congress of Sorrows in the tunnels underneath Bering. It's basically like splayed out above in a gap above the corridor, presumably in a position it could see you from the entire way through your examination of the. There we go. There's Alex's pulse rifle, and is essentially with a hissing noise just dropping straight from above into the middle of the front of your group, and we will see what happens from there, I suppose. But there we go. Oh no. Oh, that's bad that it's got the first action, eh? But we do have... So John rolled the most successes. So John, let's say you go first and you can choose to move around in that initiative up to 5 spaces. I mean, I'm just imagining that you're probably going to immediately move to the front.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay. If you can move yourself to the front, then, and then we had Pierre with 3 successes. Where does Paolo want to move, if at all? You don't have to.
Matt's trying to tell me something about when I should go. I probably want to go a bit further forward. I do. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'd like to go just after the Xeno, I guess.
Just after the Xeno?
Just after the first Xeno. So you, Xeno, me, I think is where I can go.
Yeah, with the new layout, 3 would take you before the first Xeno.
Oh man, this is complicated to think about. But
no, it wouldn't. It would.
Yeah, John's swapped us. So yeah. Anyway, move me as far as possible.
I mean, we can resolve this by saying, is anyone not moving forwards in the initiative order?
Hell no, I'm moving forwards.
Okay.
I only have one success, so I can't move.
I'm going to burn a story point.
I suppose, Steve, you might be able to move ahead of the Xeno in front of you
if I get a chance. Sure. Yeah.
That's Paolo needs to move after you in second position.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mafalda needs to move between Boyer and the second Xeno one. Oh no, Mafalda.
The first Xeno.
Yeah, and the first Xeno. So just after the first Xeno is Mafalda.
Okay.
And then
these guys
Boyer. Yeah. I probably shouldn't have done this, but fuck it.
No, it makes sense. If Boyer stays where he is and then Mafalda moves, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Mafalda and Boyer will kind of stay more or less
stay where they are. Yeah. And then Dima moves ahead of that second Xeno one. And I think we're good there.
So there gets to be 2 Xeno actions,
2
one
Xeno
after
at the
another.
end.
Unless Boyer wants to spend a story point and get to ahead of the first Xeno.
I was considering it, but I don't.
I think I'd rather we didn't mess with
muck around with it. Yeah, that's fine.
So in terms of this, then Huang 12, the Xeno is definitely it's dropped down among you. So I would say that in immediate danger is everyone here apart from Paolo and Lever, who's at the back.
Okay.
So Cam plus these 4 minus Pierre is definitely in immediate danger of being attacked. But I am just going to assume, like, this is the complicating factor, of course, is that it's now among you,
mm-hmm.
and therefore shooting it.
We're all at close range, are we?
It's engaged range.
Right.
So I would say, basically, what I'll probably be doing is I don't want to fully determine it right now, but I'd say that everyone who I've named is certainly in danger of being in engaged range.
This is so fucking bad.
So, if I shoot it, would everyone get hit by the acid?
You roll for it, don't you?
It's so it may splash on its attacker and anyone within engaged range. It doesn't say how you determine that. So it says the strength of it is based on the acid splash. It Doesn't say how you actually determine whether it does hit them. Because it says it may splash on its attacker and anyone within engaged range, but then doesn't say. And then it says the strength. And then, okay.
I remember when it actually gets
not helpful.
Hit. I remember there's like a D6 roll or something to see.
Not according to this.
Oh.
What, as in we just get hit, or?
But it says may splash.
Oh.
But then doesn't say how that is determined or not.
I guess by the logic of the scene.
It's just so at GM's discretion. Yeah, okay. Okay, well, I'll just take that as my discretion then and do probably some randomization or... Yeah, the answer to your question, John, is if you shoot it right now, acid may splash out. Well, it will, but yes, all those people are in danger of being hit by it.
Okay.
But also they're in danger of it grabbing them and killing them.
This is it. I need to weigh up how the three laws apply to Huang.
Yeah. You're not 3 laws. Let's make that clear.
Yeah, no, not exactly.
You're not quite in that universe.
You are programmed to prioritize human life with some other factors involving the interests of the Seegson Corporation.
Yes. Yes. So I think if I shoot, it may cause them harm, but if I don't shoot, it's more likely to cause them more harm.
You think it is more likely to be able to kill them than its acid is able to kill them?
Yes. So I'm going to take a few steps back away from it and then open fire.
Okay. Well then, are you using full auto? Because I definitely think that that is capable of it.
Yes, because that normally causes stress, and I don't care about that, do I?
You do not. I mean, does it all? No, it doesn't cause stress for things around you. So yeah, absolutely.
I love that. That's like Android synergized perfectly with just going full Vasquez,
going absolute ham. Yeah. So there we go. I think we have the rules for full auto written down. Probably. Maybe we do. Maybe we don't.
It adds a +2 to your roll. You take an immediate point of stress. But I think
John doesn't. Okay, well, it's a ranged combat roll, and you take +1 to it for the rifle, a +2 to it for the full auto, and I guess that's it. I guess that's everything.
Okay.
And how does armor piercing work? Because they are armor piercing rounds.
Armor piercing is you halve the armor and round up.
Awesome. Okay.
So that was only 1 success.
Okay. But the damage of the weapon is something +2? As well, right?
Oh.
+2.
Damage on a pulse rifle says 2.
Yeah, it's 2. It's not a plus. It's just a standard level of damage. Okay, so I now roll the armor for it, which, because it's halved, is 4.
Fuck.
And I get 1 success, so that is 1 damage dealt to it. It does have a certain amount of health. But importantly, that does also therefore result in acid splash. Good Lord, cat. It's really not giving up. Oh, Jesus Christ, that acid splash is incredibly brutal. Like crazy brutal.
I guess it depends if like it's a whole splash of acid on your face, or if it's like you're getting spattered by it or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Still a lot of dice.
It is a lot of dice. But it is like crazy in that, like, well, let me just tell you, the lowest amount of damage an acid splash can cause is 9.
That's quite a lot.
Seems a lot, right?
Like over double my hit points.
Is it 9 or rolling 9? Does it like roll 9 dice?
It's rolling 9 dice. Yeah, I think. Let me just double check that.
maybe this is for
the
like
acid
how much
splash plus
damage
the
it
amount
can...
of damage that the Xeno took in base dice with base damage 1. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Right. I misunderstood that. I got it wrong. Okay. I'm going to say Huang said that she took a few steps back. So we have Dima, Mafalda, and Boya and Cam here. Okay. I'm going to determine that basically for everyone, I think like the spray of acid would be unlikely to hit multiple people. I just think it would. So what I'm going to do when I determine in this environment, I'm going to use a D6, and I'm going to say that actually I'm going to use a D5 essentially, but I'm going to say that one of those slots is it hits no one. And that's what I'm going to do. So, and I'm going to assign people numbers before I roll this because I can see on Justin's face that if it comes up him, I'm going to be blamed, right? So
I've already put it in the chat that this is where I die.
So, Mafalda's 1, Boy is 2, Dima's 3, Cam is 4, and missing everyone is 5. And if it's a 6, I'll re-roll it. So, God, I hope it's not 1.
No.
It is not 1. So I'm gonna keep the suspense going a second and roll. So what I do now is I roll. So the basic acids. I'll just lead this through for people so they know I'm what this is. I roll the acid splash dice, which is 8, plus the damage dealt to the creature, which is 1. And then that's the amount of damage. The 6s I get are the amount of damage to add to the base damage of 1. So it's actually not as bad as I thought. But still.
So no matter what, you're taking
It's
1
quite
damage.
bad.
But yeah, because no one has armor, so they are taking.
Instant
They're
death.
somewhere between 10 and 1 damage.
Okay. So before I narrate this, Steve, how much health does Dima have?
Fuck.
3.
Perfect. In some way.
For whom?
So, Huang, as your bullets rip through the Xeno's armor, it rears back with a screech, and there is this sound of kind of tight liquid spraying and a hissing noise and an unpleasant burning stench as Dima staggers back, clutching at his chest and shoulder and arm. And I would imagine, I don't want to speak for you, Steve, but probably screaming. As the acid starts to eat into your flesh.
Given this is a second time, I've experienced this before.
So your health is 3. It has done 3 damage, which means you are kind of downed, right?
Broken,
and I think you you're broken and you have to roll critical.
Oh,
well,
God.
I think in the past, do you want to roll for critical, or I think I've done it previously because again, suspense, narration purposes. Do you mind if I roll it? You want me to roll it? I'll roll it. And there's no adjustments to this, is there? Like, it's just a flat roll. Because I always think of, like, there's definitely critical tables in other systems where they kind of mount over time. But I think this one is just a flat roll, right? Pretty sure.
I can check.
Like a flat D66.
Thoughts and
Yeah,
prayers.
immediately roll a critical or injury with D66. So it isn't mitigated by anything and it doesn't go over 66. All right, then. Okay. The 10s die is not the worst it could be, I'll say that.
Okay. So it's a 9.
Right. Okay. Dima, the acid has splashed considerably over your abdomen, particularly your lower half, your belly, and is starting to eat through, and you've got a deep stabbing pain in your guts. The actual impact of this is that you will, for the foot, until it's fixed in some way, and it needs to have some attention dealt to it, over a number of hours, or you will die, is you will take 1 point of damage every time you roll for mobility in close combat.
Ouch.
But you're broken right now anyway, so you need either someone to get you up, or after 5 to 10 minutes you'll get up automatically. Yeah, but you are staggering back against a wall, like toppling over with the pain in your belly.
I'll have dropped the pulse rifle, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Paolo.
And I take a stress point as well because of the damage. The first time you take damage,
First time you take damage, yeah, sure.
I think my gut reaction would be to run, but
don't say guts. It's a sensitive topic right now.
I think I'm going to try to like grab Mafalda like by the arm and pull her away and try and get out of here and try and run. I don't know if that's opposed or if that's like a,
I mean, I don't think you'd manage to get her to run unless she wants to run. But I think it's an opposed roll to see if you can yank her backwards at least.
Yeah, I'm
if
trying
if she's opposing, Mafalda, do you want to run?
I want to move forward towards the ship because that is the exit in my mind.
Sure.
So,
this Xeno is between you and that.
I'm aware of that. So I guess if you want to be moving away from the Xeno, then I would be resisting.
Okay.
Well,
then...
strength roll?
Yeah, I guess just an opposed strength roll to see if.
But I suppose if it's just a short distance, then I could be yanked back.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I think so. I'll be yanked back.
Basically, what I say is, Math, we got to get out of here. And then I try and like pull you away, like forgetting about the pistol I have because I
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I guess the question would be: is Matt happy for me to have moved out of engaged range through the actions of Paolo?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's basically all I'm going to be trying to do. So
yeah, sure. I was wondering if you'd have the kid glory moment of just absolutely capping the xenomorph here before it gets an action. But
I mean,
but no.
Yeah. I think what I'll do is I'll pull Math back and then like sort of fumble with the pistol, trying to work out how to turn a safety off.
Sure, absolutely,
but not actually shoot anything.
Seems reasonable and ultimately responsible play. So it's the Xeno's turn.
John has posted something important in private chat regarding if a victim is broken by acid damage, which I feel I should point out.
Okay, if a victim is broken by acid splash or suffers further acid splash damage when already broken, they must make a death roll every round until until they till they either die or saved by a medical aid roll.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll wait till next round and we'll see if that's needed. But first off, Xeno, I think it's still like obviously they kind of randomize their attacks, but I still think they need to roll to see if they hit, right? I don't see why they would not. Do they? Actually, maybe they don't. I remember this talk before because they literally don't have a close combat skill.
Oh, well, fuck.
They only have mobility and observation, so I think maybe they don't. I think maybe they just go. Signature attacks. Oh yeah, you just roll a d6 and resolve the effects. So yeah, this could be fun. We've had this before and it hasn't ended well for Justin. So I'm going to again randomize the roll, and this will now be a D. Actually, I think Dima is out of it. He's crashed to the floor. So I think now it's a D3 roll actually between Huang, Boya, and Cam about who it's attacking, and then I'll determine the attack used with the table. So
to clarify, is Yeva not with us in this?
No, Yeva was at the back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeva was at the back. Yeva's behind Paolo. So it is Boya.
I had a feeling.
Attacked.
I had a feeling.
And that attack is okay.
I don't know if that's bad or good for me. It sounds like it might be good for me compared to the offerings on the table.
Compared to, it's certainly not the worst. I'll give you that.
Okay. Fuck.
That's it only just makes the attack, but it does make the attack. Can you give me a stamina roll, please, Boya?
Ooh, a stamina roll, you say? This could potentially be something actually in my wheelhouse. It is something in my wheelhouse.
I would strongly suggest
not
making sure you get at least one success.
Not fucking this roll. A foam. All right. So stamina. I got 6 dice for that. I've got 1 success already out the gate.
Great.
And then I need to roll my stress in, and I'm on 5. Fuck. 1 success, but also 1 panic.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I don't know if it's.
Does that trigger if it's not my turn, or is it still trigger?
I don't know. It seems to me like some of these. You know what? I'm going to make a judgment here, and this is a little bit of the old home brewing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say if it's a reactive roll, you don't necessarily use your stress dice.
Okay. Well, I just don't roll them in, or.
Because this is like an instant thing to see how you react to being harmed in a particular way. I just can't see how it would.
I mean, as it happens, I rolled a 1 plus. Oh no, you get a stress immediately, don't you? And then you roll your stress die when you panic.
So no, you don't gain a stress. You don't gain a stress automatically. No.
Oh, okay. Well, in which case I would have kept it.
Okay. Anyway. Well, either way, it sounds like it wouldn't have made an impact. So let's go with the rules then.
We can ponder that for next time.
It just seemed weird to panic as to test how you react. It was weird. Trust me. So, how many successes do you actually get in the end?
So I got 2. 1 off my abilities and one off the stress die.
Well then, the xenomorph's tail has lashed out at you, Bora, and not really impacted much, but sort of lightly stabbed into your forearm, just very briefly, right? And it hurts, but it only feels like getting like a bad cat scratch or something. But you can feel a cold, a cold sensation flooding its way through your arms and up towards your chest, and you feel like your heart start to flutter and your breathing start to constrict. But mechanically speaking, you are not going to be paralyzed for 2 rounds.
Outstanding.
This is just a replay of our first encounter with them.
It's very similar, yeah.
Lightly stabbed.
But you're not going to. You're going to get this action, and you're going to get next round's action, and then you're going to be paralyzed.
I mean, if it hits me again, I'm dead. Probably. So, did I take any health damage for that?
Oh yes, 1. Sorry,
1. Yeah, I was going to say surely. Yeah. So I'm on. Okay, that's. Well, I'll leave it.
No matter how much damage it rolls on that attack, it's then reduced to 1. So
I see.
Yeah,
right.
It nearly didn't hit. It rolled 10 dice for the attack and only rolled 1 6, so it nearly missed. But
that would have been
quite.
Glorious.
It would have been glorious. Okay. Either way, that's the Xeno's turn. Mafalda,
gonna shoot this Xeno, especially if I'm not in engaged range.
You are not anymore.
Then I'm gonna. I mean, do I go? Is full auto better?
It adds 2 dice to your roll, but it gives you a point of stress.
Yeah, I'm gonna go full auto on this thing. Get away from my family.
So take your point of stress. Take your point of stress and immediately apply that to the roll as well.
Okay.
So your roll will have and add an additional +1 for the gun. And +2 for the full auto.
Okay, I'll need to roll 1 extra dice at the end of this. This is so bad. Oh god. I'm going to spend a story point to get 1 success.
Okay. You could also push.
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, but so pushing is reroll everything that failed, right?
Gain another stress, which immediately also applies to the roll, and reroll every failure,
which was everything, including the stress die.
Including the stress die, and obviously add the stress die you've just added to your stress level.
Yeah. Okay. 1 success on the stress die, but I don't panic. And then for everything else, which was, I think, all of that. So that's 2, 3 successes.
That's a lot better, right?
Yeah, that's a lot better than 0 successes.
Good job.
Those extra successes can just turn into damage.
So that's 5 total damage.
So including the damage of the gun, is that?
Yeah, including damage to the gun, that's 5 damage.
So that's 2 damage from the gun.
3 damage from successes.
Including the extra. I think it's only the extra successes that add to the damage,
it's
right?
4 damage then. That's I think that makes sense.
Could be wrong.
No, that's how it normally works in Free League type games. So
yeah. But then it's so that's a total of 4 damage.
Yeah,
it's armor piercing because you're using a pulse rifle.
Yep.
So I will, because you took a pulse rifle from the bodies.
Yep.
So I will now halve its armor and then roll that. Okay. It rolled 1, but it didn't roll more than that. So that's 3 total damage you've dealt to it. Mafalda, the rounds you fire off really do start shredding through this thing. One of its arms comes off. And kind of the others kind of like in a staccato fashion kind of like puncture through across, tracing a line across its chest. I mean, unfortunately, that also means we're going to get another acid roll and quite a considerable more one because it's going to be 8 plus the number of dice of damage it's given. I think we still have I'm going to roll a d4 to see who it affects. Huang, Boya, Cam, no one. I think that's reasonable unless anyone else wants to argue anything else.
I was outside of... Well, I moved out of engage. Well, I moved back.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Yeah, I said I took a couple steps back.
Oh, then it's just Cam, Boya, no one is what I'd say.
Can we assign some more?
You know what?
Chances to no one.
I think you're right. I'll add a chance to no one because enough people have moved back now. There's probably just more room.
More empty space, right?
Yeah. So we've got a 50-50 whether it hits anyone, and I'll do the 50-50.
So you're going to have like the 4 cardinal directions around the alien.
Yeah. It does not hit anyone.
Oh, thank fuck.
The acid sprays in a huge gout, kind of back along the corridor, and there's now like a smoking, or there will be very soon, a smoking cratered hole like underneath it. So
I was like, I haven't done anything yet, and I'm already getting paralyzed. Cut me a goddamn break.
Yeah. Speaking of not doing anything yet, it's your turn.
Yay! Okay, I genuinely didn't expect to reach my turn. All right. Well, it might be take a step back and full auto a clock time. Like
sure.
It's got to be done, doesn't it? So ironically, going to put the pulse rifle down so I can go full auto. So in this case, is it still just a ranged combat roll? But I add.
It's a ranged combat roll. It's a ranged combat roll. Add no. If you're using full auto, stress will be added immediately to the roll. Raise the stress level by 1. Add that and add plus 1 for the gun and plus 2 for full auto.
Christ on a bike. Okay,
it's a lot of dice.
Yes, this might take a minute. Sorry. Okay, so ranged combat is 7. So I roll 2 more in. 1 success off my actual ability. I've got 6 stress to roll. There is a panic. Two panics in there, in fact. I need to roll 1 more stress die, which just went down the back of the table. So I'm going to roll this one here. Nothing. Okay, so we're on 2 successes, but also a panic, and then I need to roll an extra die in for the rifle. Is that correct?
The rifle does add plus 1. Yeah, if you haven't rolled that yet, then
I haven't. Yeah. Jesus Christ, I can't roll things on the table. No, nothing. Okay, so 2 successes.
before we do the panic, let's sort out the damage.
Sure.
So that was. I'm assuming you're turning your stunt into an extra damage.
Yes.
So that's a total of.
You know what? I'm going to burn a story point to add an extra success. So I'll do that.
Sure. So you deal 3. So the damage of the weapon is just 2, right? So
Correct.
With an extra damage from the story point and an extra damage from a stunt, that's 4 damage in total. It's got 4 armor. So let's see how this works out. Okay, it rolls 1 success. That is not enough. And the xenomorph skull cracks open like an overripe melon. Of course, immediately sending potentially acid spraying out again.
Fucking everywhere.
I'm going to give it a 1 in 4 chance to hit Cam, who's the only person still next to it.
Sorry, Cam.
It does not hit Cam. And the creature's body crumples into the ground with an increasingly widening gap underneath it that it starts tumbling down as the acid melts through the steel of the structure. And I think that is a good point, folks, to take our second break. So we're going to break for another 10 minutes. Please join us at the end of that as we move into our final act. Players, if you can have a think about what your agenda might shift to or might not shift to, and we'll do story points as we come back in.
What will your shift to, Steve? Being dead?
Maybe. Look,
mine will be flopping around on the ground like a fish.
There is a medic right there at the end of this initiative round, and she's Yeva is right there. She's going to give Dina some medical attention. I'm sure it'll be fine. Of course, Boyer is now below in this alien hunting environment and is about to collapse and be paralyzed. So that could be fun. All right, let's take our break.
Paralysis. See you in a bit.
Let's take our break. See you in 10 minutes, folks.